could probably go over that song and call it good. A lot of message there in the old rugged cross. And hopefully we someday will join him. We're walking our way through Mark. We're in chapter 14. And so today we'll try to walk our way through chapter 14. So as you're turning there, I've got a story that happened to me yesterday. I was in Fox's getting my plumbing. And I don't know about you guys in plumbing, but when I hear plumbing, it kind of put it on hold for about a year before I do it. But yesterday was the day. I got my plumbing stuff at the back of the Fox there in Altus, and I'm going down this big aisle. And at the back, about the back of the room, there was this young little girl, about 2 years old, and then behind her was mother and a couple more kids. I had a hat on, and I'm just heading down this aisle, and this young little girl, 2 years old, starts running towards me. Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know I had another one like that. Come on. Here she comes. I'm running. Daddy, Daddy. Well, she got up to me and looked at me and was like, and her mother caught her about that time. She said, this is not Daddy. And we kind of laughed and snickered and went on. About halfway down the aisle, or the aisle there, I could hear the little girl yelling, Daddy, Daddy, where are you, Daddy? Daddy, all over the store. You can just hear this little child. Where are you, Daddy? If you come today looking for your Heavenly Father, and that's the reason you come today, you're at the right place. Because we're going to show you in Mark 4 what happened to your Father's Son, Jesus Christ. And think about it, if you have that willingness to find Jesus in your life, and you are just so enthralled that this could be the morning you find him, we're going to share Jesus with you in chapter 14. You're going to find Jesus. He may not be how you want him to be, but he's going to be there. So let's read on as we go through chapter 14. After 2 days, it was the Passover and the Feast of the Unleavened Bread. We'll talk about that in just a minute. And the chief priests and the scribes sought out how they were going to take him by trickery. Who are they taking? Jesus, right? They're going to take Jesus by trickery. These scribes and the high priests and all these people that should be godly, right? They're going to take Jesus. They've been reading about him all of their lives. They are people that are supposed to be talking about God. And here they are. They're going to trickery him and catch him. It's kind of interesting that they do that. And they're going to put him to death. These high priests, religious people. But they said, not during the feast. Now wait a second. We can't do it during this time, right? Not during the feast, lest there be an uproar of the people. So what were those priests really worried about? They were worried about their position, weren't they? And their prestige. And all of this thing. What are they going to say about us if we do this? And all the uproar of the people. So the chief priest and the scribe, there's a question there about them. And listen to this question. Am I willing to give up my position, or has my pride and jealousy got in the way of seeing the true high priest? Has my pride and my jealousy and my position got in the way of me seeing the true high priest? Can we do that today? Can we put our pride in the way? And it covers our view of the high priest, Jesus Christ? I think we can. And so this story unfolds here in chapter 14. And being in Bethany, verse 3, at the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at the table. So it's kind of like a trial. They said, well, we won't do it right now. Not just yet. We're going to give you a few days, Jesus. We got to get past this one moment here and past the Passover and all of that. So Jesus is being in Bethany at the house of Simon the leper. As he sat at the table, a woman came to him having an alabaster flask of very costly oil and spikenard. Now, this very costly oil and spikenard is about what you would make in a year's time. Now, how many of you, just kind of raise your hand, you willing to give up your salary for the year? All just to prepare this man for his burial? Or to prepare him for later on? That's what this lady did. Then she broke the flask and poured it on his head. But there was some who were indignant among themselves and said, why was this fragrant oil wasted? For it might have been sold for more than 300 denarii and given to the poor. And they criticized her sharply. So think about this. This woman with an alabaster flask. Here's the question for this woman and for us. Am I willing to give up a prized possession to help someone in need? That's the question for us today. Am I willing to give up a prized possession, my livelihood, to help someone? Verse 6, but Jesus said, let her alone. Why do you trouble her? She's done a good work for me. For you have the poor with you always, and whenever you wish, you may do them good. But me you do not have always. So this is the end of Jesus' life. She has done what she could. She has come beforehand to anoint my body for burial. Now think about that phrase. She has done what? What she could. What's he asking us to do? What we can. He's not asking us to go out and do all these fantastic things. What we can do. That's what he wants from us. Beforehand, to anoint my body for burial. Assuredly, I say to you, wherever this gospel is preached, 2025, Cache, Oklahoma, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be told as a memorial to her. She gave her all. And that's what he wants from us. He just wants our all, right? We read earlier in Mark, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength, and then your neighbor as yourself. That's what he wants from us. And then the story changes here. Judas agrees to betray. This is one of the closest ones of Jesus here. Then Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went to the chief priests to betray him to them. And when they heard it, the chief priests were glad and promised to give him money. So he sought how he might conveniently betray him. Now on the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover lamb, his disciples said to him, where do you want us to go and prepare that you may eat the Passover? We'll talk about Judas in just a minute. Where do you want us to go? And he sent out his disciples and said to them, go into the city, and a man will meet you carrying a pitcher of water. Follow him. Wherever he goes in, say to the master of the house, the teacher says, where is the guest room in which I may eat the Passover with my disciples? Then he will show you a large upper room, furnished and prepared. There make ready for us. So his disciples went out and came into the city and found it just as he had said to him. Not of me, that's just a kind of a phrase that we go over, and we just kind of pass it over as, well, Jesus knew, didn't he? Jesus had a plan. And the disciples were all a part of it. And he said to them, and they prepared the Passover. In the evening, verse 17, he came with the 12. Now as they sat and ate, Jesus said, assuredly I say to you, one of you who eats with me will betray me. And they began to be sorrowful and to say to him, Jesus, one by one, is it I? Is it I? And another says, is it I? He answered and said to them, it is one of the 12 who dips with me in the dish. The Son of Man indeed goes just as it is written of him. But woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been good for that man if he had never been born. So it's a strong statement here. To his apostles, his disciples that were following him, he says, if you're not going to follow me, it would have been better if you hadn't even been born. Are you going to be a wannabe, or are you going to really be a Jesus Christ follower? You know what he's saying to us today? Are you just going to be a pretender, or are you going to be a follower of Christ? And we see this play out here with his disciples, don't we? They were pretenders here, weren't they? All of them, not just Judas, but we're going to talk about Judas here. And Judas's question is this: am I willing to give up eternity with Christ for the riches of the world? Isn't that the question the devils ask us today? Am I willing to give up the riches of the world for the eternity with Christ? And sometimes we say yes. And obviously Judas did say yes. We have to watch ourselves, don't we? The riches of the world that so allure us, power, prestige, whatever, fame, whatever it is, that we can fall into here as Judas fell into. Verse 27. Excuse me, I jumped. I'm sorry. Verse 22. And they were eating. Jesus took bread, blessed, and broke it. Now think about this. What we just did here. He's going to follow through with it, isn't he? This is before he dies. We just did it today. Are we following his will? We are. And he said, Jesus took the bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them, said, take, eat, this is my body. Then he took the cup, and he had given thanks to it, and gave it, and they all drank from it. And he said to them, this is my blood of the new covenant. Not the old covenant, not the old laws, not the priestly old order. This is a new covenant. You're going to eat the bread, you're going to drink the cup of the blood, which is shed for many. Assuredly, I say to you, I will no longer drink of the fruit of the vine until that day. I will drink it new in the kingdom of God, which he's doing with us, right? So we have that opportunity. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. So here they go. They go out to the Mount of Olives. And Jesus said to them, all of you will be made to stumble because of me this night. So you're all going to fall away. You're all going to go the wrong way tonight. You're all going to be made to stumble because of me tonight. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and what's going to happen? The sheep are going to be scattered. They have no shepherd, right? I'll strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. Zechariah 13:7 on that one. But after I have been raised, I will go before you to Galilee. After I've been raised, I will go before you to Galilee. Peter said to him, even if all are made to stumble, yet I will not be. Oh, Peter, right? He's not going to stumble, is he? I will not be. Jesus said to him, surely I say to you that today, even this night, before the rooster crows twice, he will deny me 3 times. But he spoke more vehemently, if I have to die with you, I will not deny you. Peter going to follow through with that? He's not, is he? And they all said likewise. So it wasn't just Peter. We say just Peter here, but it's not just Peter. All of them are saying the same thing. So the Peter question is this. What will we do, and I'm jumping ahead of myself, but that's okay. What will we do when the going gets tough? See, the going hasn't gotten tough yet, has it, for Peter? He doesn't see that he's going to have a problem with this issue. What will we do when the going gets tough? Then, verse 32, they came to a place which was named Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, sit here while I pray. And he took Peter, James, and John with him, and he began to be troubled and deeply distressed. Then he said to them, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to death. Stay here and watch. So he just wants them to stay there and watch. He went a little further and fell on the ground and prayed, and if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. And he said, Abba, Father, just think about this prayer to his Father. All things are possible for you. Take this cup away from me. Nevertheless, not I will, I will, but what you will. I know it's going to be your will. Then he came and found them sleeping and said to Peter, Simon, are you sleeping? He found them sleeping. Are you sleeping? Could you not watch 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing. This is a great phrase. So remember this through the week. The spirit indeed is willing, but the what? The flesh is weak. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Again, he went away and prayed and spoke the same words, and when he returned, he found them asleep again. For their eyes were heavy. Have your eyes ever been heavy? Watching TV and you're kind of like sleeping, and you wake up and you're like, oh, I wasn't. Yeah, you were sleeping. That's okay. For their eyes were heavy, and they did not know what to answer him. Then he came the third time and said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? It is enough. The hour has come. Behold, the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand. Back to Peter. What will we do when the time gets tough? When the going gets tough? Will we deny Christ? Will we cave to peer pressure? Let's watch and see what happens here. And immediately, verse 43, while he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, with a great multitude with swords and clubs. It's kind of interesting that the first of the chapter, they were just going to, do it by trickery. Now they're just going to bring brute force, right? Like they really need to do either one. They've got clubs and swords, and they came from the chief priests and the scribes and the elders, people that shouldn't have needed to have done this to Jesus. Now his betrayer had given them the signal, saying, whomever I kiss, he's the one. Seize him and lead him away safely. As soon as he had come, immediately he went up to him and said to him, Rabbi, Rabbi, and kissed him. And they laid their hands on him and took him. And one of those who stood by drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. Then Jesus answered and said to them, have you come out as against us as robber with swords and clubs to take me? This is kind of funny. I was daily with you in the temple. We just had a conversation a few days ago, don't you remember? Could have done it then. I was daily with you in the temple, teaching you, and you did not seize me, but the scriptures must be fulfilled. Verse 50, very important. I think it applies to us. Then they forsook him. They all forsook him and fled. Will we flee Jesus and his word? The other thing I think we see here is he wants us to watch and pray. That's what he wants his disciples to do there, right? Watch and pray with me, be with me here in this sad time. Verse 51, you can research it, come back with me and tell me what you find on this verse. After studying it a little bit, not sure, we'll read it. Now a certain young man followed him, having a linen cloth thrown around his naked body, and the young men laid hold of him, and he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked. So one thing we do find is that someone was following. It's a man with a linen cloth. He didn't flee, did he? He was still following until they pulled the road, and then he ran. I don't know. Make of it as you wish. It's the only time it's in one of the Gospels, so it's kind of hard to understand exactly what that means. But we do see that he was following Jesus. Verse 53, and they led Jesus away to the high priest, and with him were assembled all the chief priests. Here they are, the elders, the scribes, and here they are, this big scene here. But Peter followed him at a distance, right in the courtyard. So they're holding court on Jesus, aren't they? Of the high priest. And he sat with the servants and warmed himself at the fire. Now the chief priests and all the council sought testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but found none, for many bore false witness against him, but their testimonies did not agree. How many of you remember doing something bad in school and the principal bring you in the office and you all had to tell your story? And they wouldn't agree, so until they found the full truth of the story, they couldn't just do anything about it really. And that's what's happening here. Then some rose up and bore false witness against him, saying, we heard him say, I will destroy the temple made with hands, and within 3 days I will build another made without hands. Is that true or false? True, isn't it? True. But not even then did their testimony agree, so they all had different stories about that. And the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Jesus, saying, "Do you answer nothing? Why aren't you saying anything? What is it these men testify against you?" But he kept silent and answered nothing. Sometimes that's a great point for us, isn't it? To keep silent. Again the high priest asked him, saying to him, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed?" It's getting a little personal for Jesus, so he answers this one. He says, "I am, and you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power and coming with the clouds of heaven." I am, and you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power and coming with the clouds of heaven. Don't you know those scribes were mad then? They were hoping it was them. But here it is, it's Jesus. Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, "What further need do we have of witnesses? You've heard the blasphemy. What do you think?" And they all condemned him to be deserving of death because he said that. Doesn't sound like death deserving, does it? Then some began to spit on him and to blindfold him and to beat him and to say to him, "Prophesy." And the officers struck him with the palms of their hands. Wow, what a scene. Now as Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came. When they saw Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, "You also were with him, Jesus of Nazareth." But he denied it, saying, "I neither know nor understand what you are saying." Don't you remember what Jesus was just talking about? His confidence? It's all gone now, isn't it? Does our confidence sometimes wane when we get in tough situations? Yeah, we lose sight, don't we? We lose sight. And he went out on the porch and the rooster crowed. And the servant girl saw him again and began to say to those who stood by, "This was one of them." But he denied it again. And a little later, those who stood by Peter again, "Surely you are one of them, for you are a Galilean and your speech shows it." Then he began to curse, so he said, "I'll hide my speech. I'll just throw a bunch of cuss words out here at you." And that turned you off pretty quick. Well, that's what Peter was doing. He didn't want to be caught as one of them. You can't be doing this to me. I do not know this man of whom you speak. This is Peter. This is apostle. He's going to spread the word. He's a big part of Jesus' ministry, isn't he? And here he's throwing cuss words out, denying. And the second time the rooster crowed, then Peter called to mind the word that Jesus said to him, "Before the rooster crows twice, he will deny me 3 times." When he thought about it, he wept. The spirit is willing and the flesh is weak. Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God. True or false? True. He wants us to take up our cross and follow him. True or false? True. He wants us to give our best to him. True or false? True. He wants us to see him sitting on the right side of the throne of God. True or false? True. He wants us to partake of his body and blood. True or false? He wants us to watch and pray. True or false? True. Where are you, Daddy? Where are you, Daddy? We find him here. Still alive. Still speaking to us. Still wanting us to come to him. If you need to come to Jesus Christ today, we can do so now as we stand and sing.